Today is day 336 of the podcast, and 2 Timothy 3:5 tells us what it will be like in the last days, that men will be holding to a form of godliness, although they've denied its power, and we're to avoid such men as these. Holding to a form, but not having the power. You know, the Lord instructed his disciples to wait in Jerusalem until they had received power from on high. And when the church received that gift of the Holy Spirit, they were no longer left to the limitations of the law that had held God's people in check. That law just reminded men of their sins year by year, but without any ability to overcome the opposition of their flesh. That didn't happen until we received the fullness of the Holy Spirit. When the Spirit was poured out on each one, they received his indwelling presence. Now there's the possibility to be converted to a new life and power. It was demonstrated on that day of Pentecost by the tongues of fire that came to rest on each person's head, just like the pillar of fire had rested above the tabernacle in the wilderness on the day of Pentecost. The tongues of fire demonstrated that now we were the temple of the Holy Spirit, and the tongue of fire demonstrated that he was in residence within. His desire now is that we carry his presence into every daily situation, and his Spirit will conduct his will through us. When we fail to acknowledge the Spirit, though, we practice self-improvement. This is pervasive self-improvement Christianity, but we are neglecting the way of the Lord and what the new covenant's all about. When we walk in the strength of our own soul, just our mind, our will, and our emotions, those are things we had before we were ever saved. We can try to conform them to the Word, but we are really just practicing New Testament law. We will live a form of godliness, but we will lack the power. Soul strength is the power of religion. That's what religions function from, but it's useless for walking in the Spirit. So today's question: how does the kingdom of the world depend on human effort?